This is a Willets Point Shea Stadium bound 7 express train. The next and last stop is Willets Point, Shea Stadium.
From the Yankees starting pitching to the
Yeah.
Mets, and we got one of your guys, and it was a guy that I all offseason kind of really wanted. I wanted Luis Severino to be
You
a
guys got to
Met.
still.
As long as it was, third, fourth starter, I thought that would be a perfect signing. I thought the deal was good. I liked the money that was involved, and I'm here to see Luis Severino kind of return to the form he was with the Yankees because, he was a really good Yankee for a long time. And, he has the pedigree pitching in the playoffs. And, what were your thoughts when you saw him sign with the Mets? And, were you kind of hoping to bring him back, or were you kind of done with Luis Severino at that time?
I wasn't 100% done with Luis Severino because I know that Luis Severino never fully recovered from his first Tommy John surgery, right? So when it comes to Luis Severino, and you guys got him on a bargain, like my guy Richie just pointed out in the chat, $13 million for that type of potential. If Luis Severino is healthy and is pitching up to his potential, you guys have yourself a number one pitcher or a number two pitcher in the starting rotation. That's how dominant Luis Severino is when he is on. Now the question is if. It's a big if he is healthy. If you remember back the whole Astros, the trash can situation, 2017, 20, whatever year it was, that season with the whole banging, first half of the year, Luis Severino and Jacob DeGrom was neck and neck for who's the best pitcher in New York City. You remember that? Jacob DeGrom had an ERA under 2. Luis Severino was right behind them. His ERA was borderline 2. They were pitching for who's the best pitcher in New York at the time. We went to Houston. The trash cans comes in. This is when the trash can comes in. Luis Severino had one of the filthiest sliders in the world. The Astros knew that sliders wasn't coming. They laid off of it. Ball. So what did Luis Severino start doing? Pumping his fastball 100, 101, and he hurt himself and he blew out his arm, and that was the downfall of Luis Severino because he continued to pitch that season when he needed to actually have Tommy John surgery. They waited till later on in the season before putting him on the IL and setting him up for Tommy John surgery. So if he is healthy, you guys have yourself a secret still.
I do remember a lot of talk being, I think even everyone's favorite reporter, Andy Martino, saying Luis Severino was every bit even better than Jacob DeGrom was. So, he was on a trajectory for himself to have been one of the top pitchers, in all of baseball. And, the injuries came for him. The one good thing I do like bringing in Severino is that, his velocity has not lost a tick. It's just he can't get the control right now, and he was tipping his pitches. So hopefully with this pitching lab that the Mets have, they can kind of get Severino back to, where he was at, I guess the prime of his Yankee run. And
I pointed it out all last year that he was tipping his pitches. If you guys watch the footage, when he was throwing his fastball, when he was setting up, he had his hands right here on his chest. When he was throwing his off-speed pitch, he had his hands at his belt. So he was definitely tipping his pitches all last year. I was calling it every game whenever I did a watch along with my guy Pete over there on NYYU. Every game he was tipping his pitches.
Yeah, I don't know what it would take to fix that from him. I did speak with Nelson Figueroa, former Mets pitcher. He was on the podcast. And, he says it is an easy fix, but the problem is sticking with it. Can Severino stick with it in, tough situations? So we'll see what Severino's got.